Morning, afternoon, evening. Welcome to MBS Connect, a daily walk through Proverbs. And today is day 47, and our topic for today is calming your fears. And our lead verse comes from Mark chapter 5, verse 36. Be not afraid, but believe. Short and sweet. Be not afraid, but believe. So, calming your fears. Our daily walk starts with most of the things we worry about will never come to pass. Yet, we worry still. We worry about the future and the past. We worry about finances and relationships. As we survey the landscape of our lives, we observe all manner of molehills and imagine them to be mountains. I want to take a quick second to pause there and think about it. Most of the things that we worry about will never come to pass. It makes me go back to my youthful days when there was these little white lies about the boogeyman in the closet or the boogeyman under the bed, and yet that boogeyman never showed his face or her face or its face. Um, there was still something, you know, somewhere inside with the small thought that grew from a molehill to a mountain or an imaginary mountain of this nasty monster in my bed. Actually, I have a specific memory of a movie. I was probably around 8 years old, maybe. The movie was called Tremors. Some of you may be aware of that movie. It was the movie about these big, huge, massive monsters that mold under the ground, and they sense vibration and sounds, and they were eating sheeps, and then they was attacked this very small town out in the desert. Well, after I watched that movie, I was on the living room couch, and I kid you not, maybe from the living room to my room was about maybe 30 yards. 30 yards. And I remember once the movie went off and the credits were rolling, how afraid I actually thought. I actually had this thought that the tremors were actually real. And I kid you not, I probably ran those 30 yards the fastest I've ever run in my life at 8 years old. It's probably when I noticed I was probably going to run track one day. I'm just kidding, but I just wanted to paint that illustration because just sometimes society, give us things that kind of weigh us down, and we have these imaginary boogeymans or monsters, and they could be things like our past. Like, what's your boogeyman from the past, or maybe even your trimmer from the future of the future? Um, what's that? Whether it's your finances or relationships that's causing you to fear, even though it's really not something that's going to hurt you or affect you. But right now, you can't tell yourself. Like, I couldn't tell myself that those tremors were not real. That if I made too much noise running from the living room to my bed, that monster was going to come up and get me. So I want to just have you think about what's your boogeyman. Are you concerned about the inevitable challenges that make up the fabric of everyday life? If so, why not ask God to help you regain a clear perspective about the problems and opportunities that confront you? That's a good idea. Ask God to give you a clear perspective of your problems and challenges. When you petition your heavenly Father sincerely and seek his guidance, he can touch your heart, clear your vision, renew your mind, and calm your fears. And we're talking about these fears. I wanted to share this verse from Hebrews chapter 12 because we're not in this, guys, alone, and we've had some Bible and Christian Hall of Famers who've run the race before us, who's now in heaven and who's cheering us on. So this is Hebrews chapter 12 verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge cloud of witnesses, and these are folks up in heaven who's watching earth and who is cheering us on as we're running this race of life, witnesses of the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down. And that's fear, guys. When we're talking about calming our fears, that's fear of failure. That's fear of a relationship or something that's known or maybe even made up. Let's strip it off. Let's just tear it off and just get rid of it. especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. And that's not being afraid and just believing. Mark 5:36. Um, our quote comes from C.H. Spurgeon, who says, God alone can give us songs in the night. And even God can send us things that will calm our fears, calm our thoughts. He's within us, He's there for us. So why not, even if we are not sure if this things that's causing us to fear is real or not? Let's just leave it. Let's just leave it at the throne of God, and let Him handle it. And also know that we have clouds of witnesses who've run this race, who've went through all the feelings that we're going through, all the situations that we're going through, but they can see the end because they were able to endure to the end. And we're probably in the middle of something that seems so big right now, but just trust God and just believe. Our daily walk through Proverbs, word for the wise, comes from Proverbs chapter 29, verse 1. A man who remains stiff necked after many rebukes will suddenly be destroyed without remedy. And I think that stick neck, someone who remains stick necked is someone who's probably like a deer caught in a headlight in headlights, who's just afraid, who's so afraid that they don't even want to move, just stuck in place. But I'm just encouraging you guys to not be afraid, just believe and move closer to God and let Him handle everything for you. So guys, hopefully that's an encouragement, calming your fears. Have a blessed day, and until I see you tomorrow, peace.